As part of our warranty, we promise that if the piers ever fail, we're gonna come back and adjust them as many times as needed. And that comes at no cost. It's part of what you pay when you hire us to do the work. However, coming back to adjust the piers is not enough. We always promise that we will deliver a permanent solution. We focus on finding the root of the problem so we can get rid of it for good. Welcome back to another Tales of Foundation Repair. Today we're working on a house we already fixed in the past. We did a foundation repair to this property about 5 or 6 years ago. It's in Plano, Texas, and we installed concrete piers. Around this area, the concrete piers go only about 4 feet deep. In some of the holes on this house, we were only able to reach approximately 2 feet deep, so we decided to install dual concrete piers. That means we installed 2 lines, 2 columns of concrete cylinders to better protect the house, but that wasn't enough. We already came back about 3 years ago. We adjusted some of the piers, but they failed again. These are the concrete piers that we installed. As I mentioned, we have 2 columns. We did that because we wanted to prevent foundation settling. However, because the concrete piers reach refusal too fast, the depth they achieve is not sufficient, and the soil still gets affected by the changes on weather. Even that it's hard, it still gets affected a lot by the changes of moisture along the year. And because it's not the real bedrock, the soil softens with the rain and the constant pressure of the piers pushing down. So instead of having to endure through this process over and over, we decided to invest a little bit more and install steel piers instead of adjusting the concrete piers. Now we're doing both things. We're gonna adjust the concrete piers, press them again to make sure they have around 8,000 to 9,000 psi. We're installing these steel piers at no additional cost to the homeowner. As part of our warranty, we promise that if the piers ever fail, we're gonna come back and adjust them as many times as needed, and that comes at no cost. It's part of what you pay when you hire us to do the work. We focus on finding the root of the problem so we can get rid of it for good. And this is why we no longer offer concrete piers. We will rather install hybrid piers or steel piers. We don't want you to deal with this issue over and over. It doesn't really mean that the concrete piers don't work. They are a cheaper and effective solution. There are some areas, some type of soils where they're gonna last for the years to come. However, it's worth noting that with any repair system, if you can't penetrate through the hard layers of the ground, it's most likely that the repair is gonna fail down the road. Now, we're gonna test the concrete pier. We're gonna see how much pressure it has after all these years. So we're gonna install the steel pipes on all of the holes, and we're gonna adjust the dual concrete piers. This will ensure that this never happens again. So what happened with the concrete cylinders is that because of their diameter, they have way more surface area of contact against the soil at the moment we're pushing it down. So the steel pipe, as you can see, is definitely smaller. And when doing foundation repair, the surface area is one of the key factors that we need to understand when talking about foundation repair. So bigger piers mean more resistant, and that way we achieve the refusal faster. So the bigger the piers are, we might not be able to push them down all the way to the bedrock. And this is how we install the steel piers. First, we have to set up a round bottom. This reduces the friction. The way it reduces the friction is that this cap is going to prevent the dirt from getting inside the pipe. We don't want the dirt getting inside the pipe, because then the dirt is gonna start grabbing, it's gonna create friction. Then we have to interlock the pipe like this. As you can see, the cap diameter is bigger than the pipe. This is so we start pushing the soil As we drive the pipe down, the cap is allowing the dirt to be pushed aside so we don't have any ground, any dirt holding up into the pipe, creating friction. When we reach the bedrock or the load-bearing strata, thanks to our hydraulic pump, we're gonna then set up the transition on top of it. On here, you can either use a steel top cap or the transition and then transition into concrete. Here, we're going all the way down with the steel pipe, and we're just gonna use the last few cylinders to finish the pier and sit the house on top of our steel pier. With the hydraulic pump, we push pipe by pipe until we reach the load-bearing strata, or around 10,000 psi. And that's everything we're doing on this house. We're gonna continue installing the piers. After we have all of the piers installed and adjust, we're gonna set up the bottle jack so we can start lifting and adjusting the levels inside. As we finish installing the piers, we're now setting up the bottle jack so we can start adjusting the elevations inside the house. Now we just have to finish setting up all of the bottle jacks, so after that we can start adjusting the levels. Right now we're just checking a little bit, but we're not really lifting. We're just making sure the bottle jacks are set up properly and they're not gonna shift or move as we level the house. After lifting, I'm going to verify the elevations, make sure the house is level. So here we set up the 0 on the center of the house. And we're going to measure the other areas of the house where we adjusted. The elevations are going to be now within 0 to, they can go maybe ½ inch of difference, but we always try to make sure that we relieve like the stress. So what we do is that we usually always check the elevation at every 6 feet of distance. So we know, like for example, we have minus 0.2, minus 0.3. But here in the inside, at just 6 feet distance, we're gonna measure the elevation. See, we have the same elevation here as we have on the outside. If we lift more, then we're gonna have more stress in here. So minus 0.2 is not too bad. After leveling the house and confirming everything is around 0 to ½ inch, some of the guys are finishing shimming the piers. The rest of us are backfilling and finishing the job site. Here I'm going to show you how we remove the bottle jacks. So the house is now level. Bahama is going to shim the old piers first. So right now the house is being held by the bottle jack, but we're gonna add this cylinder to the other pier to then release the bottle jack. The house is going to sit on the old cylinder and then we can remove the bottle jack. He's gonna use the steel plates to make sure that the concrete won't crack, neither the foundation or the cylinder. So the steel shims, they work as a cushion to prevent fracture. We need to make sure that they are set with a lot of force. So when we remove the bottle jack, the house will not come down. And now he's ready, and he pulled out the bottle jack. So he's just gonna push down the stroke, and now he also is gonna be ready to shim that pier. Here we are backfilling and covering everything. We're going to make sure that it looks better than when we arrive. Now that pier is ready, and we're gonna backfill the hole. So we are almost done. We're gonna finish maybe like in an hour. So after backfilling the holes, we use water. We're gonna pack down the dirt as best as possible so we don't have sinkholes down the road. The water helps us push the soil down, then we can add more dirt and pack it down. And after we pack down the soil, we're just finishing up. We're leaving a grading that helps the water to be pushed away from the foundation, so we don't have any puddles of water. We're almost done with the entire repair. We just have to finish picking up our tools and any trash or debris left behind. You can see the big difference on the job site. After having piles of dirt, holes, material, it's now all finished. We are all done with the repair. Everything is finished, and we're just wrapping up our truck so we can go home, and tomorrow we'll start the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any questions, let us know in the comment section. We're always happy to assist you.